Stoldos. So we have the story of Yitzchak wants to bless Eisav. So we explained last week, or the beginning of the week, we explained that there is two ways to explain Yitzchak. The traditional way was, the way Rashi brings down, that Eisav deceived Yitzchak. Tzayid Lefiv. Another Mefarshim learn, it's not that he deceived him, part of that, but really the main thing was that Yitzchak felt that to build Klal Yisrael, you need somebody who knows how to fight. You know how to fight. How can you build a Jewish nation? We have enemies around. David HaMelech was a fighter, right? We bought the story of the Chofetz Chaim with the show, those were in the Mussar shoes.
He fought, doesn't mean he's a fighter.
Oh, that's it. He wasn't a fighter. We bought that really the Talmidei Chachomim, like Yaakov Avinu, was a big fighter, but he was a really ish tamim, simple guy. But because he was a simple guy, in the end, who wins? It's not the tricker and the siver, and not the Ramai. And then the Ramai doesn't win. The Shak and Ramai don't win. The simple people, the true Jews, the Talmidei Chachomim, they Shamayim, they have the Siyata, the Shemayim win. That's what we spoke last week. But the traditional way is that Eisav deceived Yitzchak. Kitzayid Befiv. He was asking him questions on the Mussar Melach. He had big kibud avayim. His head was buried in Mussar Machpelah. Big kibud avayim. He was changing clothes every time he met his parents. So Mimele Yitzchak Avinu felt that the tzaddik is really Yitzchak. Eisav. Yitzchak felt that the tzaddik is Eisav, and therefore Eisav is the one. Eisav is the one that he's going to get all the blessings, and he will build Klal Yisrael. Rivka knew that Eisav is a liar. He's deceiving his father. She didn't waste her time to try to convince Yitzchak, that Eisav is a liar. He's a Rama, he's Shakran. She didn't do that. She did Maisim. When it came to reality of the blessings, she loved Yaakov, and she made sure that the blessing will come to Yaakov. Now, this I heard from my father, bless his memory, this point, this Nekuda. He says, why when Yitzchak Avinu was born, his name was Yitzchak? A laughter, like a kind of a joke, that's the name. It was the most serious thing that happened. The most serious thing that happened, Yitzchak Avinu was going to build a Jewish nation. So we call him this name a joke. It's totally opposite of a joke. Here, Yaakov Avinu needs to get the blessings. It's the most serious thing that Yaakov is going to build a Jewish nation. So he must get the blessings. It will be the biggest destructions if Eisav gets the blessings. And what happens? Yaakov Avinu gets it by deceiving his father. Okay, his father was deceived, but Lamaisi had to deceive and trick his father and get the blessings. And then what happened with Yehuda? Yehuda is to be the leader and the king of the Jewish nation. David HaMelech comes from Yehuda. How David HaMelech is born? What a weird story. He goes and he sees a Zona on the road. He thinks he's a Zona. That's his daughter-in-law. And he wants to burn and kill her and his children. Everything is, we say in Spanish, bajita la tenasa. Why not straight? Why bajita? Remember we had this guy in Yeshiva, everything was bajita la tenasa. What was his name? I forgot. From Moshe. What? Guebo. Who knows? Everything is weird under the table. Not straight. ¿Por qué? Why? So my father brought down this name of Dr. Kahana. Moshe Kapoya. Dr. Kahana said, yes. And Dr. Kahana, he was the one, Rabbi Shmuel Zan Kahana, he's the one who was the Mankal of the Salanter. He's the one that gave Mount Zion to the Rosh Hashiva, to my father. It's a big schus. Everything is a purpose of him. Although my father told me that he had to pay him 10 times and twist his arm, who knows? He said, I can't even write 20 books that tell you how much twists and turns I had to do in order to. He says he was such a Polish guy but because the Rebbe was a Talmid Chacham, and then won. The simple, then he was able to, with all the tricks and turns, Lamaisi got out. But Lamaisi, the point is that Rabbi Kahana said, Shmuel Zan Kahana, he said, big things cannot come straight. Why? Because if the Satan, Yitzhak, knows that this will destroy his position in the world, he will do all what he can to fight against it. And I'm bringing as a support the words of the Arizal. The Arizal says, why in Rosh Hashanah, in Yom Kippur, why in Yom Kippur we have Seir LaAzazel? We have one Seir LaShem and one Seir LaAzazel. You have all the Korbanos, and one Seir LaAzazel for the Yetzirah and the Satan. Why? Because if the Satan, the Sitracha, doesn't get something, he will destroy everything. He needs to get one Seir. He needs to get his bones. Give him bones, then he leaves you alone. But if you fight head to head, it won't work. There's a famous story that Rabbi Yehuda HaChossid came with 250 families, thousands of people. He came to Yerushalayim with big boats and money. And what happened? He came to Yerushalayim. The first Erev Shabbos, he went to the mikveh, he slipped and he died. And then they borrowed money to buy a big bliss, and they couldn't pay the money, and they all ran away. And they didn't allow the Ashkenazim in Yerushalayim for, 100, 200, 300 years, a long time. Only Sephardic Jews, Italian Jews. So they say because they came b'koach, with strength. When you do, I'm building Yerushalayim, we'll come now, crusade, Jewish crusade, it doesn't work. Chas v'shalom, the word crusade is a word thing, but they come as a conquerors, b'koach. It's not because of the shvur. It's not because of the shvur. Because the Yitzroel doesn't want to allow you to finish him off.
48. Push him aside.
Push him aside totally. So that's why he gives Seir LaAzazel. So here, the most serious thing in the world is happening. Avraham Avinu as a child. He's going to build a nation. His son Yitzchak, they call him a joke. People don't say it's not his. Really, Solomenu got it pregnant from Paro, Avimelech, and she then suddenly another man. Stories. The whole joke, and had to make a big inauguration day when he was 3 years old to show his mother still can give milk. And nobody to show his same face. It's a joke. And people used to say, son outdoors says, no, that's not really his father. It was a joke. Then comes out Yaakov. Now Yitzchak does Yaakov. Yaakov will get the blessing just directly, and Yitzchak will say, that's the guy all along. The Yitzchak won't allow it. Had to come through the back door. After Yaakov Avinu, Yehuda, Mashiach, can't come from the front door. Has to come from Tamar, his daughter-in-law. She's waiting like a zona of a child. Can't be direct. The Torah were not allowed to happen. And he said, why? By the Jewish nation, we don't know who is the descendants of David HaMelech. People say, I'm from Rashi and this. It's a word. Nobody really has Eisav, Yichus, Ma. Sure, it was done by the Goyim, the Yitzroel. Because the Rosh won't allow it to happen. Such a thing to happen, such a thing, I'm out of picture, I'm pushed aside, you fight it. So we don't know exactly who's the guy. Like we see many nations, Alexander the Great's children are all wiped out. Because they don't want him to come again. They want to get rid of him. That's in physical. But in the spiritual way, they don't want to allow it. So really, how come that Yitzchak was deceived? Was all planned from Shemayim. And it says when Yehuda lived with Tamar, and the Medrash says, Mimeni says, Mimeni yotzu kvushim. The Medrash says, what is Mimeni yotzu kvushim? As if HaKadosh Baruch Hu forced Yehuda to be deceived and live with Tamar. In order that the children will come out and Mashiach will come out of that. Mimeni yotzu kvushim. Kavush means, like Kavush mebushal means oppressed. Was Hashem oppressed him, but it was by force.
All the pleasure that ever existed in the world in one moment, in one person.
One person. Mimenu yotzu kvushim, couldn't control it. Why? Because Mashiach had to come from that. It's a master plan. It's part of the master plan of Hashem. It had to come from the back door. My father, bless his memory, said, when the Diaspora Yeshiva started, people laughed and when Baal Tshuva says, tell me the Chacham will never come out of that. The hippies, that's a joke. But if they knew how serious this, they would shake. 50% at least of the Haredi world are children of Baal Tshuvas. Yes, that's a fact. If there were more than 50, if there were now, how serious this institution, what it's doing in the world, that who breaks the ice to bring about true world in the world, the woman, they throw shake, who do we can't knock out. See people with guitars, with long hair, people laugh, that's a joke. Not a serious place. No, it's a very serious place. Big things can happen here. And 60 years later we see, Baruch Hashem, Hashem should give us a bracha to multiply it and grow from it more and more until Mashiach Tzidkenu Amen.